Good evening. This is the Lion of Legend, and welcome back to the kid at the back. It's been a little bit of time since I've last hopped on here. We're going to try to find some more endings, and maybe some curious dialogue that we don't know about yet. Where should I start? Okay, so last time, we went to the arcade, so we hung out with Sol. We'll go to the movie this time. Hugo gives you a bright smile. Heck yeah, I knew you were a trooper, Lion. Come, let's go grab some tickets and snacks. Do you want popcorn or something else? The shorter male went along ahead towards the movie theater with you, coming along, following up behind him. Sol clicked his tongue. He shoved his hand in his pants pockets as he followed along behind you. Hugo took notice of this and raised a brow. Oh? I thought you weren't interested in the movie, sonny boy. Maybe you're right. It does look interesting. Let's go. Sol takes hold of your wrist and drags you away from Hugo into the movie theater. What? Hey! Come back here. I'm talking to you. Sol went ahead to the counter and bought tickets for the three of you. Sol turned around and gave one ticket to you. Your fingers brushed with his, causing him to blush. Finally caught up to you two, Hugo pouted as he crossed his arms looking at Sol. I thought the tickets were on you, Hugo. It is, but guess it's on Sol now. Not that I'm complaining or anything, but this is supposed to be my treat. Oh well, the food is still on me. Wait right here. Hugo scurried off to the food booth, leaving you and Sol one last time. You walked towards the now showing pictures, examining the poster. Sherlock Holmes, huh? Hugo's into detective movies. You turned to ask Sol. He placed a hand on his hip as he checked the poster next to you. You can say that. He aspires to be one. That's quite charming of him, and Sherlock Holmes is his inspiration. It's just one of them. I see. How about you, Sol? What's your favorite genre? Sol raised his brows at you. He placed a finger on his chin as he looked up, staring at the ceiling. I like supernatural horror and thriller, along with the tales of the Headless Horseman or those original fairy tales by the Grimm brothers. Those all sound so gruesome. I bet you feel weirded out by it. Well, we are horror fans here, right? We're not all just here to see what sort of pretty men are going to, be my boyfriend? Really now? Of course I do. I think they're very interesting, and I love the thrill they give. Sol stares at you in awe before a smile breaks out on his face. Then maybe we could watch one together. I'm back. Hugo's familiar voice was heard. You turned around and saw him walking towards both of you, two large bags filled with popcorn on each arm and a large cup being held. Oh, let me, you said, taking one bag from Hugo's arm. He thanks you for the help. I've got the snacks. Hope you like popcorn, Lion. He then turns to Sol. Come on. Let's get in before the movie starts. Sol nods as you and Hugo follow him towards the entrance of the movie theater. He hands out 3 tickets, then the 3 of you enter. This isn't it. This piece wants you to believe it's the ultimate evidence for this case, when in fact, you were halfway through the movie, the bag of popcorn halfway finished. You looked at the blue-haired male on your left, as his gaze transfixed on the large screen before you. Hugo, during the beginning of the film, was really giddy, but now he was silent, seemingly engrossed with the scene happening in the movie. His hand goes on autopilot as he munches on each bite of popcorn. To your right, Sol, surprisingly, was also too engrossed with the movie before him. You need to piss. You've been holding it for a while since you don't want to miss out the important scenes, but Mother Nature is knocking so hard on your door. You tap Sol's shoulder. He turned his attention to you. You need something. I need to go to the comfort room. Would you like me to accompany you? No, it's fine. Just enjoy the movie. Sol gave you a nod, and you took it as a signal to stand up from your seat, ducking down, making sure not to block the screen for the viewers at the back as you sped walk towards the movie theater's comfort room. Jeez, and it was already getting interesting too. I'll probably just ask Hugo what happened when I was gone. Well, time to head back. The forceful opening of the door startled you. A few grunts were heard, and the shuffling of feet as if they were in a struggle. You went quiet. You better speak the fuck up, or else. I don't know what you're talking about. How many times do I have to tell you? Bullshit. Ugh. Your eyes widened as your breathing stopped. You quietly, but quickly, went to the nearest toilet stall. What's going on? A fight? In the cinema out of all places? Whatever is going by the door is clearly something you don't want to get involved with. Just tell us who is the traitor that you're in cahoots with, and I'll let you on. Again, I have no idea what you're talking about. Guess I have no choice. Oh shit, he's got a Glock, what the fuck? You hear the sound of the light bulb being popped along with a portion of the comfort room's light going dim. Only half of the room is now lit up. Please, I don't know, I swear. I'm giving you one last chance, buddy. A little shuffling was heard. The rough voice seems to whisper something that you cannot hear. Then you hear breathing as it gets shorter and heavier. He is here. I swear, just look around. You're bound to find him here. Please, don't kill me. Maybe the gun's too merciful. No. This dude... Was that a knife? Your nose caught something. It stings as it fills the air, the edges of your eyes watering. You then felt something wet hitting the tip of your shoes. You looked down, and your eyes widened. But... blood. Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. Someone just got killed. And the body is right in front of your stall. What? Is someone else here? Shit, did he hear me? Well. Seems like we have a lost lamb on our shoulders. Then you hear the stall 1 block away from you was roughly opened. Not here, huh? Come on, little lamb, don't try to hide. Shit, I need to do something. You quickly looked around, trying for a way to escape, but there is nothing but a small rectangular window just above the toilet. You can try to pry it open and call out for help. I feel like getting closer to you. He's about to open my stall. What should I do? Whoa. Was that a quick time event? Oh jeez, I have like no time left. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh shit. I didn't click anything. All you could do is stay quiet and hold your breath as you closed your eyes. Please, please, please. The door to your stall slowly opened. You can feel the intimidating presence of the man. I don't want to die. There you are. I don't want to die, 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 I don't want to die. Ugh. Then, you felt a hand coming to touch your hair. You flinched. You slowly backed away, your legs shaking as you still refused to open your eyes, your arms wrapped around you. Lion, it's okay. And you hear that all too familiar voice. I'm here, Lion. It's all right. Holy shit, there's a lot of blood. Before you was Sol. Right behind him was Hyugo. Both of their expressions are filled with worry. But your focus was on the splattered blood across the walls. Hyugo notices this and tries his best in blocking the view. Sol's hand then went up to reach out to you, but he stopped midway, afraid, as if he'll burn you. Without even thinking, you quickly wrapped your arms around Sol, your shoulders shaking as you buried your face on his chest. Sol took this as a sign and gently wrapped his big arms around you, a hand coming to caress your hair, trying to comfort you as you shook in his hold. Can we go out, please? Without much of a word, Sol escorted you out from the scene before you, his hold tight and secured around your shoulders. Sol gives Hyugo a look, and the shorter male just sighed, waving his friend away with a fanning motion. I'll take care of it. You and Sol left. Hyugo lets out an irritated tisk as he looks down at two bodies on the ground. God, what a pain in the ass. The sky is now dark, indicating it's near night. You finally got out of the movie. You looked down and stared at your shoes, noticing a few splatters of blood. You gripped Sol's arm. He took notice and looked at your shoes. Seeing the blood, he kneeled down on one knee and took out his handkerchief. No, it's all right. Doubt it. He wiped the blood off of your shoes before folding his handkerchief and shoving it deep in his pockets. He looks at your disheveled look. Let me ask you again. Are you all right, Lion? I don't think we're fine. How? And why? You ask no one. The terrifying experience kept repeating in your mind. Sol broke your trail of thought by placing his large hand on top of your head. You looked up at him, and he gave you a soft, reassuring smile, his hand now off of your head. Don't think about it anymore. What matters is that you're here with me. You looked around you and noticed that Hyugo wasn't around. Where's Hyugo? He's got it covered. You don't need to worry about him. How about I walk you home? Huh? You know, to keep you safe. I'll keep you company. I'll keep you safe. Do you trust me? I trust you. Then let me take care of you. Intermission. I don't trust this guy for shit. For those who are wondering why, but have not watched my previous videos of this game, go watch those, and then come back. Sol gently takes hold of your hand and wraps it around his larger one, his gaze never leaving yours, a bright smile on his face. Lead the way then. You felt safe. Safe with someone. Safe with Sol. The walk back to your apartment was quiet, save for a few nightly bugs making a few hums then and there. Sol's hand is still wrapped around yours. He's warm. You couldn't help but steal a few glances at Sol. He looks back at you. He said nothing, but the more he stared at you, the more longing his eyes were giving. He gives you another one of his bright smiles. He squeezes your hand, you squeeze back, making him chuckle. What is it? Nothing. Your hand feels cold. Let me fix that. He hummed as he raised the hand that he's holding. Here we go. What? There. Now it feels warmer. He teased, a blush of his own appearing on his face. What? That's not how you warm hands up. Is that so? I'd love to see how you would do it. Sol. He just laughed at you, his face still red as you playfully hit his side. Eventually, your walk came to an end, and you're met with the front door of your apartment. You let go of the hand Sol was holding. He nearly reached out to keep his hold, but stopped himself. You turned to face him. Well, this is my place. Oh, I'll see you tomorrow then. Of course. But we don't have classes tomorrow, though. That's all right. Maybe we can hang out after classes to continue on with the project. I'll keep your word for it then. You turn to face your apartment's front door, taking out your keys and finding the one you need. But before you inserted the key to your apartment, you turned your head to look at Sol's tall figure, still unmoving from his position. Thank you for today. I really owe you one. He paused. Then his shoulders relaxed. Don't worry about it. Just know that you can count on me. Unlocking your front door, you fully turned around to give Sol one last wave with a smile on your face. He returned with his own smile before walking off towards the exit. Okay, so when I get the option to skip dialogue, I'm going to skip dialogue, as we've already gone through one playthrough of day 2. We're just going through the other endings. Here's some new dialogue. Your heart dropped before turning off the TV. The incident back in the cinema replaying in your mind. You quickly turned off your television as you made your way to your kitchen, hoping to take mind off of things. Oh my God. See, I wasn't sure if Sol was going to break in again, but the way that the dialogue came up on the screen, I feel like is very telling of his obsession with us. Our time today isn't enough. It's never enough. I want more of you. I want to be with you. Every waking day. His gaze went from hurt to desperate, his focus still on the figure sleeping before them. If only you know how much I crave your attention every day. It hurts. So please, let me. Tucking a loose strand away from Lion's face, he gives him a kiss on the forehead before landing another one on the corner of Lion's lips. A shiver ran down his spine at the contact. Oh, I can skip dialogue here. Let's move forward. Uh-oh, what is this? You've really caused me some trouble today. Fucker, so it is you. Fucking traitor. What? My gun. Oh shit. Who would have thought? Our sweet doggy is biting their master's hand. Though not gonna lie, we should have seen this coming. You're talking too much. You haven't even fired a gun. Shit. They're slowly figuring me out. I don't think I can make it for the next few days. Sonny, you've done enough for me, I think. This is the end of our deal. So what we have learned from this playthrough is that Hyugo is not fucking around. Alright, we'll say that, the horror movies are not weird. This is kind of like the same sort of dialogue, just one is showing more enthusiasm, I feel. I think they're unique. Also, it adds to your charm. You said with a wink. Sol blushed and looked the other way, rubbing his wrist to calm himself down. I wouldn't mind trying to watch one, though. Then I'd love to recommend some for you. Of course, that would be such an honor. Oh shit, oh shit. Oh man. We'll say that we are fine, and then I'll try to do better at that QuickTime event. I think that's a good idea. Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. You say that, but your voice is clearly betraying you. Sol isn't convinced. Instead, he kept giving you a worried look. He sighs before shaking his head. Okay. So that was the same ending of Hyugo not fucking around. So, alright. I don't know if my save here on the bottom right is going to give me enough time to do that QuickTime event. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go back and just sort of go through the window. Without much thought, you quickly stepped on the toilet seat and pried open the small rectangular window. It won't budge. Then, you hear your stall opening, and there you see a tall man, roughly 6'8". He is dressed in all black, black leather gloves adorning his hands, and in one of them is a gun with a silencer attached to it. And below him is the bloody body of another man. That must be the meek-voiced man you heard. Well, hello there, little mister. You seem quite lost there. Sadly, I can't let any witnesses go loose. Please don't. He, however, did not listen to your pleas. He takes his gun as he loaded it with a click. I'm going to fucking die. Okay, this is when we get rescued. Okay, we're seeing some... Okay, so... This time we're going to hold onto the door. As soon as the owner of the rough voice tried to open your stall's door, however, you quickly grabbed onto the knob, pulling with all your might to prevent the man behind it from prying it open. Oh, so you're feeling feisty, huh? Suddenly, you are pushed out of the door. The man's incredible strength catches you off guard, causing you to be pulled in, tripping on the body, and bumping onto the owner of the rough voice. You looked up and froze. Your eyes meet with stinging gold eyes. He is dressed in all black, with black leather gloves to match. He roughly grabs your hair, causing you to hiss and groan from the sudden pain from your head. You've given me enough trouble, little mister. Now, you must pay for it. Fuck, please. I don't want to die. You closed your eyes, tears stinging in the edges, as you tried to pry off the man's hands off of your head, but to no avail. The pain from your head is now gone. Okay, so what else are we missing here? So, I think we did everything that we can in the theater. Right? So... No. Let's go back to the arcade. I want to double check. We have plushies to get. Last time we got the horse plushie, so now we'll get the Shiba Inu plushie. You tapped on the transparent glass, cooing at the cute Shiba Inu plush. You will be mine. But before you could insert a token in the coin slot, you were interrupted by something. Or rather, someone. So, last time we thanked Sol, so this time we'll just stay silent. Noticing your silence, Sol looks away, too scared to meet your gaze as his shoulders keep shaking. Oh. Huh. Oh. And now we're gonna tell Hyugo who we're interested in. Last time we chose Sol, so I guess we're gonna choose Crowe, who is probably the safer love interest at this point. You thought of Crowe. You still remember the day he introduced himself to you. No one was there for you. No one helped you, much less bother with your presence. But Crowe came on time to save you. He made your years manageable and fun. You owe him a lot. You'd do anything to repay him. And maybe, with a small linger of hope, that he likes you back. Okay, and that does remind me that we do have to go back and hang out with Crowe instead of going with Hyugo and Sol. But is there a bit more to do before we go back that far, such as choosing the cat plushie? I can try for the cat plush, it looks cute. Setting your eyes on the prize, you insert the token in the coin slot. The machine whirs to life as you take the joystick and focus on the cat plush. Okay, one more time. Again. I'm so bad at this. Suddenly, you felt an intimidating presence right behind you. Okay. So, what do we need? What do we got? If I go, let's go to my later saves. We've done the fine, I'm not fine. Hold the door. You know, we might have covered everything in this theater escapade. Which means we have to go back. And go... Oh, wait a minute. Are there more options that I have not selected? What is this? Right, we're hanging out on the rooftop. Sol brought a lunch. And now he and Hugo want to make sure I've had lunch. Let's go back. Last time I remember I said that I have not eaten. Hugo stopped gobbling down on the bento box. Sol gave him a disgusted look. With the use of his chopsticks, he pointed at you. You should try it. Here, you can have some of my... I have another one made, thank you. Sol stopped Hugo before he could finish his sentence. Hugo shrugged before continuing on his endeavor on the bento box. Sol sets down his sandwich before taking out the third bento box. I didn't like how this turned out, but it was a waste of ingredients. Figured I could give it to Hugo and let him finish it. Sol opens the last box, and there you are greeted with almost the same design as Hugo's bento box, only a bit crooked. Sol slumps down, quite embarrassed at his poor performance. But it was adorable either way. You made this? Yes. Is something the matter? If it's not to your liking, I can give you my sandwiches. No, there's nothing wrong with it. Sol stopped rambling. You gently took the bento box from him, your hands brushing against his in the process, making him blush. I just never thought you'd be the type to make this type of food art. I think it's quite unique and amazing. Thanks. Well, better eat that before I swipe it off your hands. Not on my watch. Hugo just laughed. You chuckled. Sol rolls his eyes, taking his sandwich before taking a bite out of it. You accepted the bento box and settled it on your own lap. Okay, so last time we mentioned that Sol would be a great house husband, so now... You cooked for Hugo like a house husband. That's adorable, Sol. You two are like a married couple. House husband. Married? To him? Sol points at Hugo with a face that asks you if you're serious. Hugo's eyes sparkles in return. Hugo gave Sol big, bright, pumpy eyes, blinking rapidly. Sol grimaced. I'd rather jump off than to be his personal butler, much less spouse. Aw, no, you don't mean that, Sonny honey. Sol clasped both of his ears with his hands and groaned as he cringed. Hugo just laughed at him and turned to you. How about you, Lion? Do you ever see yourself settling down with someone? You thought for a bit. I'm honestly not sure. Sol's hands are off of his ears and are now settled on his lap as you said that. He remains quiet, his lips quivering as if to say something. But he pushed it down and stared at the sandwich he forgot. How about you, Sol? Do you plan on settling down? Eyebrows raised at your inquiry. He looked away and onto the cloudy skies above. I want to. I would love to. Especially if it's the one I love the most. His gaze met yours when he uttered the words, "the one." It sent a shiver down your spine. Blood rushed to your cheeks as you tore your gaze away from his eyes. You both are so cheesy, sheesh. Hugo interrupted, earning him a groan from Sol. Hugh just chuckled. But you couldn't help the one last look Sol gave to you one last time. Okay, what's the context here? Ah, right. Sol wants to know if we like Crowe. Last time, I believe, I just flat out said no. Just in case I'm wrong. I hope I remember them on save file 9. I didn't have to go to page 9, but... here we are. Maybe. But I doubt he likes me back. He just sees me as a friend. You let out an awkward chuckle, somehow realizing that made your heart ache a bit. You pushed away the thought. When you turned to look back at Sol, however, his expression was dark. The red in his eyes is brighter than before, as he says nothing but stare. The grip on his bento box tightening, the tips of his fingers going pale from the pressure. Is that so? How about you? Do you like someone? You changed the topic, throwing him a question. Upon hearing your inquiry, he looked down on his lap. A low chuckle escaped his lips. What would you do if I said yes? Huh? Oh, now that's a spicy confession. Have you confessed? I want to, but... He sighed as he let out a small laugh. I still have things to do before I do. And he went silent, leaving you at that. Okay, so here I believe we asked everything already. Okay. That means you're a long way from home, don't you miss it? I don't recall what I chose last time. Not really, no. Very independent. I like that. Okay, so now, last time we skipped. Now we are not going to skip. Although the idea of skipping seems thrilling, you can't afford to skip this one. Who knows what important projects your teacher is going to throw at you, and you're going to end up behind just because of skipping one class. Thank you for the offer, you two, but I can't afford to miss this one. Hugo's shoulders slumped down, quite disappointed. That's alright. Maybe we can hang out next time then. Sol turns to you. Would you like me to accompany you to your next class? Of course. I appreciate that, Sol. I'll see you at the usual spot, Sol. Sol nods at Hugo before the said male walks away, waving off as he leaves. You and Sol walk through the hallway towards your next class's classroom. You couldn't help but check on Sol. He seems nervous. You look down and see that his hand is shaking. Let's take his hand. Reaching to his hand, you gently wrapped your hand around his. His hand stopped shaking, but he went stiff, before he eventually relaxed and intertwined his fingers with yours. This makes you smile. The walk was silent, but no words needed to be said to see the growing smile on his face. You finally reached the front of your classroom door. You peeked inside through the door's window and saw Crowe on his usual seat already. You turned your attention back to Sol. Just then, your classroom's door opened, and there stood Crowe. His eyes perked upon seeing you. There you are, Lion. Just in time for the next class, too. And just noticed Sol's presence beside you. His eyebrows perked up as he gave the tall student a soft smile. And hello there, Sol. What brings you here? Sol, however, was silent, his gaze dark before responding. Just escorting Lion. That's really sweet of you to do, Sol. Crowe didn't mind the male any longer, before returning his attention back to you. You should probably get in. The professor is coming any time now. Oh, right. Thank you again, Sol, for coming with me. You entered your classroom along with Crowe, failing to see Sol's ever-darkening gaze as his fist clenched, drawing blood. He stares at the door, moving aside as he leaned on the wall right beside the door. Sol looked down to stare at his palm. Sol cursed. It reopened. Bro. The first time that I played this game, back when we only had day one, I thought, okay, we'll go after Sol. I suppose that's our future. I don't know if I want Sol being our future with everything that we've learned up until this point. Oh, boy. He raised his palm and licked the blood away. Ichibod. It's always been you. I should have dealt with him years ago. You got your usual seat. Crowe takes his usual seat by the window in front of your own seat, waiting for the classroom to settle down as your professor comes in. Alright, class, settle down. You all better turn in this upcoming paper if you don't want to end up having no grades in your card. And that means... Your professor slams down his thin notebook, the loud slap echoing through the room. You all aren't able to graduate, much less make it to the higher class. Now, I'd like you all to think of a short story based on any type of literature. Bonus points if you can source out where you got your inspiration along with references. I'll be checking those the most. You hear a few whispers from a few of your classmates as they talk with each other. Unfortunately for them, your professor notices them as he slams his thin notebook again on his desk, making some of you jolt in your seats. Now, I can allow you all to head to the library to do your research, or stay here and brainstorm. You may begin. Crowe stands up from his seat, gathering his things, then turning to you. I'm going to the library. Would you like to join me? You perked up and nodded. Crowe waits for you as you gathered your things before leaving the classroom and to the library. The library as of the moment has less students, some doing research like you and Crowe, and some just minding their own business. I'll go find us a table. The usual place, please. Of course. He says with a smile, as he set his eyes on the table near the large windows, your usual spot, and your favorite spot in this library. While Crowe went to your usual table, you, on the other hand, went near the tall bookshelves, checking each spine to see if something might catch your interest. You've been going through spines and spines of books, but nothing ever caught your eye of interest. You eventually gave up and picked up the closest book near you. It was a bit heavy. The biography of Marie Antoinette. Your eyebrows raised in curiosity. Who knew a random book would do the trick? You flipped it open and you were met with a very well-drawn portrait of a very prestigious-looking woman. Flipping through more of the pages, your eyes landed on a drawn figure of the same woman, but her kneeled before a guillotine. Quite a spoiler, but you read through the text below the illustration. The execution. Such a gruesome end, you thought. Deciding with this book, you tucked it under your arm. You take a look one last time around the bookshelves, maybe finding something of the same genre. You notice a peculiar book sticking out at the very edge of the bookshelf. It was a bit worn out and dirty. You're kind of wondering how it ended up there. You inched a bit closer to it. The spine didn't have anything on it, besides a few worn edges. You got on your tiptoes as you reach out to grab the book. However, the moment you grab it and pull it out, the bookshelf started wobbling. You immediately stopped. We will save here. We'll pry it out. With determination, you held on the shelf, making sure not to wobble it any further as you take a firm grip on the worn book. Come here, you... I got it. Whoa! The bookshelf shook a bit. You extended your arms as you tried to rebalance it. A few books fell then and there, making you wince. Hope no one heard that. Anyway, what is this that's so stuck to the damn thing? You flipped open the cover, only to see a blank page. No author whatsoever, save for the paper, the edges of it a bit yellow from age. The dust isn't helping either. You flipped a few more pages, and there you finally get to see some printed words on it. The various torture devices and executions of the medieval times. How the fuck did this end up here in this school library? And then again, I might be able to get some material out of this. You shrugged, closing the book. You tucked it under your arm and left the area, going to where Crowe was. Oh, there you are, Lion. Have you found anything useful for your paper? Took a while. Nothing caught my eye from the books but this one. You raised the large book and showed it to Crowe. The Queen herself. That's pretty interesting. What kind of paper are you going to make out of it? I was thinking maybe about how a tyrant royal turned good, but was punished regardless for her actions. How does that sound? Crowe was silent for a few seconds, making you tilt your head. Maybe he didn't hear you correctly. You okay? That actually sounds nice, Lion. Can I ask what's the inspiration? Oh, I just thought about something today. And about something, you remember your conversation with Hugo back at the rooftop. Also, maybe I could get extra points from the professor. You said with a wink and a nudge. Crowe just chuckled. Is that so? That's very smart thinking of you, Lion. Why, thank you. You said with a bow, making Crowe chuckle at your actions before you both settled down on the chairs from your table. You skimmed through the book, taking a few notes then and there for important bits you could use. At the corner of your eye, you noticed how Crowe's eyebrows tend to furrow as he goes through his books. His leg is shaking underneath the table. His figure leaned a bit forward as he rubs his temples. You notice how he keeps tapping the tip of his pen on his paper, but not writing anything. He seems restless about something. We're gonna dedicate page 9 to the Crowe Arc. Crowe jolted in surprise, his eyes wide open, his legs stopped shaking as he turned his full attention to you. Yes? Is something the matter, Lion? Are you alright, Crowe? Yes, I am alright. What makes you say that? You seem stressed. Let me guess, writer's block? You can say that. Crowe lets out a nervous laugh. Crowe paused, his eyes averted from yours, refusing to look at them directly. His silence is deafening. It's making your heart race from nervousness. Do you think the Queen was a good person, Lion? Huh? His sudden question caught you by surprise. My thoughts about Marie Antoinette. I read a few textbooks and documentaries. Each have different views about her, both negative and positive. But I'd like to hear from you, since this is your source of reference. His sudden interest about your paper confused you. Does it have to do with something about the Queen herself, or the situation? Either way, you thought about his question. Oh, I have so many save points I'm gonna have to make in the Crowe Arc. Let's go down the list. I believe she was a nice person. And what makes you say that? She did try her best to be charitable, and she was humble. People just misjudge her. If you think about it, she was just a child when she was made queen. Wouldn't you be overwhelmed by the sudden responsibility placed upon you? You're very much right about that. Thank you for your input, Lion. For a moment, you saw a glint in Crowe's eyes, a sign of relief. Relief from what? Regardless, it seemed to calm him down as he started writing on his paper, going word after word. Well, at least you inspired him a bit. You smiled. You stretched out your arms, letting out a sigh of relief, looking at your paper that you've made as you skimmed through it one last time. You were too caught up with your conversation with Crowe you nearly forgot about the worn book you brought along with. You picked it up and started flipping through the pages. Torture devices. Execution devices. Why the fuck are you reading this again? You turned to another page, and on it is a well sketch of a tall and bulk man, his face covered as he wields a large axe. His arms are filled with scars, while around his neck is a chained collar. He looks like those killers you often see in slasher films. Underneath the illustration, it reads, Executioner. Some executioners were feared by the public, while the rest respected them. But mostly, people shunned them for their field of work. The old times sure were brutal. You mutter under your breath as you closed the book and stacked it on top of the other books you and Crowe bought. Brought, not bought. You handed out your paper to Crowe as he gladly accepts it and stacks it along with his own paper. Shall we head back? You nod along after you finish stacking the books you borrowed for the librarian or her assistants to get. I can't wait for the day to end. Same here. Crowe chuckles as you and him left the library. The day eventually came to an end. Few rays of the sunset light shine through the hallways as you and Crowe walk through the hallway. Do you have anything else to do today, Lion? Well, I have to do some quick grocery shopping before I go home. Ah, well in that case, would you mind me accompanying you? Really? It's fine if you don't, if you have other things to do. Like, look for Brittany and the others. Not really. Besides, Daryl has after-class practice, same with Gio. As for Brittany and Jess, they're catching up on their business proposal. But don't you also need to catch up? I can do them tomorrow. I'd like to spend more time with you today, Lion. Your voice got caught in your throat. You can feel how your face heated up. Stupid Crow. Stupid feelings. Alright then. Crow lets out a small cheer. You just giggled as you both went out of the campus. You shared a few conversations with Crow along the way as he helped you with your little shopping, in which he bought a few as well for himself during the trip back to your apartment. Before you knew it, you were faced with the front door of your apartment. You frown. Well, this is my stop. Thank you for coming along with me, Crow. You turned to face him with a smile, but disappeared upon meeting his blue eyes in the darkness of the night shown by the window behind him. Crow takes notice of your gloomy expression and gives your head a pat as he brushed through your locks. Then it went to your cheek, causing you to look up at him. Why the long face, Lion? Well, we rarely get to spend time together like the old days. Today just reminded me of it. I sound so selfish. Forget it. You nervously laugh, averting your gaze away from him. Crow was quiet for a while, seemingly to think hard on your words before another smile broke through his face. His hand on your head coming to rest on your cheek. No, I agree. I'd love to spend an entire day with you. Even a month, if you'd like. Just come to me, and I'll put everything aside for you. You stared at him in awe. You could barely believe what he just said. Do you really mean that? I do. We can start by letting me walk you home after classes with you, if you'd like. Don't hesitate to ask me, okay? I'll see you tomorrow, Lion. Good night. Crow waved a small wave at you. You returned it with your own slow one, still awe-stricken at his little proposal. And with that, he's out. You pressed your palm to where your heart was, feeling the rapid beating of that damn organ. You set your groceries on your kitchen counter and started taking out its contents and arranging it in your cupboards and in your fridge. Lifting your school bag back up, you went to your room. The police are going through under investigation as of this moment for these missing people. So far, they don't have any leads, and they are doing their best to search for them. For now, we advise everyone to come home early, or be accompanied with another person. This must be related to what Hugo said the first night. He mentioned to us before that there were missing people, and considering what we saw recently with him in a gun, I'm going to assume that he knows more than he's letting on. Now, on to our next report. Is that why Crow was feeling uneasy? Maybe I should ask him to come home with me for the next day, too. But the thing is, Crow lives the opposite direction from where your apartment is. To think he'd go through such lengths to protect you. You'll thank him tomorrow. For now, you turned off your TV. You let out a yawn as you made your way to your kitchen. This guy. I miss you. I miss you. I miss you. I was hoping I would spend the entire day with you. He then lets out a growl. Instead, you went with that. Slug. He lets out a breath as he relaxes his grip. But not to worry. I'll make up for our lost time. When you're awake, of course. I'm very curious exactly what Sol has planned for Crowe. We'll say that the queen was a horrible person. She was ignorant. She raved while people were starving. Is that so? Quite rude to be partying around while thousands of people are dying from hunger, don't you think? Crowe was quiet, somehow waiting for more input from you. But once he sensed you weren't adding anything, his shoulders slumped. You're right. I would be angry too. He didn't say anything else, returning back to his paper and slowly writes on it while his other hand went back to rub his temples. I don't have much knowledge about Marie Antoinette, actually. Oh? God, I'm clicking too fast. Is history not your fancy? It's not that. I just never got the time to look her story up. Crowe just tilted his head to the side before tucking a hair behind his ear. She's an interesting woman. You should learn if you have the time. Trust me. He says with a wink, before turning back to his paper as he slowly writes on it. His legs shaking underneath the table continued. Crowe? Upon hearing your voice, Crowe's legs stopped shaking before facing you, forcing his expression to soften, but the sweat drop from his temple says otherwise. He's trying so hard to keep a calm face. Yes, Lion? Is something the matter? Are you alright? You barely wrote anything and you seem nervous. Is something bothering you? Crowe gave you a soft, yet sad smile. Yes, I'm fine. So, let's see. We have the bookshelf here. We'll leave the book from falling. Or from falling? What the heck is the book doing? Yeah, we'll leave the book alone. It's probably nothing worth checking for anyway. Besides, you aren't risking to becoming shelf pancake today. You left the book alone and went back to where Crowe was. Okay. So... Ooh, we forgot about this. Alright, so we're back with Sol, and we're going down the hallway. Last time we took his hand, now we'll keep walking. You didn't bother with him anymore as you kept walking. His shaking hand eventually was shoved in his pocket as you both resumed your walk. Okay, so now we're going back to what we expected. Alright, so I believe the last thing we have to check out, or the last section, we had the option to go with Crowe and the rest of the crew, or go with Sol and Hyugo. Where is that save file? Where did I put that? Here? Is this it? No, I don't want to overwrite my save. I want to load my game. Well, real quick, what is this? Okay. So, hold on a second. Hold on. What was this to the top right? Oh, we have quite a bit to do. So last time we called Sol over, if I recall. So this time, we're just gonna ditch our friends. Oh, Crowe? Is it okay if I leave? I have somewhere to be at. Is that so? There was a slight disappointment in his voice, but he lets you continue on. Yeah, sorry I couldn't hang out. Nonsense. I'll see you after lunch instead then, Lion. If ever you're interested, of course. Of course. You give Crowe one last smile before going over to where Sol is. You walk towards the two individuals. They seem to be in a deep conversation. However, Sol noticed your presence and stopped talking, his attention now on you. His companion noticed the change in Sol's demeanor and followed his gaze as it landed on you. The shorter male greeted you with a smile. Okay, so now we're gonna go hang out with them, I assume. So anyway, what are you up to, Lion? Oh, I just saw you both and I wanted to greet you. More importantly, you check Sol's hand, seeing the bandage now gone. You assumed it got better quickly, but you wanted to make sure. Are you alright now, Sol? Sol knows exactly what you were talking about before giving you a nod and a small smile. I'm doing better. It might leave a scar, but it's nothing for me to worry about. Huh? What? You got injured? Nothing for you to worry about. I wonder if that's the scar from when he got jumped in the library. So if we go back to day 1 and save Sol, because I know you can do that, will that impact this scene? Hyugo gave him a disappointing look. Sol insists him not to think about it, making his friend sigh and leave the topic. Anyway, we're planning to go to the rooftop today and eat lunch there. The weather's doing better, unlike yesterday. You want to tag along with us, Lion? You guys aren't a fan of the cafeteria. Upon mentioning the cafeteria, Sol shivered, as Hyugo only gave a small chuckle. Sunny isn't a huge fan of the noise there. I heard there was a food fight that happened yesterday. Right? Though, not gonna lie, a food fight sounds fun. What are you, high school? There I go again. At least have fun a little bit, Sunny. Anyway, enough talking. Let's get going, shall we? Sure. Wait a minute. Did I do all of this? Oh, I just keep finding things. Last time, I think I sat beside Sol. Let's sit in between them. Shit. Okay, I did do that. I didn't do this, though. Hyugo greeted you with a smile. Sol gave Hyugo a small glare. The male just feigned ignorance to the glares his friend is sending him. Well, that was quick. Let's go back and load. And I did not sit beside Sol. Sol noticed you from the corner of his eye, the edges of his lips going upward. You pointed to the box nestled in Sol's hands. Quick dialogue. Okay, so, alright, I think we're done with the... You know what? I don't even know anymore. Let me just catch myself and not say who we're done hanging out with before I encounter a surprise. So we did these two options. We're gonna stay with the group. They seem pretty busy. Putting away whatever idea you had, you returned your attention back to your group of friends. So, cafeteria? Everyone cringed, not hiding their discomfort. No. Hell no. Not there. I'd rather not, Daryl. How about somewhere else? Gio just facepalmed. Well, where do you suggest? Daryl flailed his arms. You thought for a moment as you looked outside. Bushes with a few flowers sprouting caught your attention, as it blends well with the red and yellows of autumn, and gives you a sense of tranquility. Garden. That's right. I may know a place. Have you guys been to the school's garden behind? Oh, right. The botanical garden used by the pharmacy course? That could be a good idea. There's a space perfect for our little picnic today. But isn't that place locked? Jess peeked in. You smirked, before pulling out a set of keys from your belt and dangling them. I just happen to be a volunteer gardener. Extra credit. I didn't know you garden, Lion. Everyone's gaze was on you, curiosity in their eyes. Even Gio's eyebrow raised a bit. Everyone, except for Crowe. Well, he grew up on a farm. And now everyone's attention was on Crowe, catching him off guard by the looks they're giving to him. Of course you know, lover boy. Brittany whispers under her breath as she rolls her eyes. Jess just giggled. Crowe's cheeks burned red from Brittany's comment. You rubbed the back of your head. You never really got the chance to properly introduce yourself to them, huh? Considering you've just started hanging out with them a week and a half ago. These past months, you've only been hanging around with Crowe the most. He was your only friend. Maybe this is your time to get to know them, and them with you. Brittany let out a sigh as she turned to you. She moved the picnic basket to her other arm and placed a free hand on her hip. Lead the way, Lion. You nodded, before escorting the group along the back of the school and into the gardens. The school surprisingly has a public garden with a greenhouse just a few steps ahead. Multiple courses would go, and plants needed flora, depending on their necessities, or sometimes the school nurse would spend her time leisuring around and embracing the fresh air. You happen to be a volunteer and taking care of the garden, along with the plants in the greenhouse, hence explaining how you got a set of keys. It just reminds you of home. Brittany went ahead and laid down a large picnic blanket under a large tree in the middle of the field. She set down her basket and started taking out some contents. Daryl and Jess followed along while Gio leaned against the bark of the tree. Owie. Not yet. Brittany slapped Daryl's hand away from the basket before he could raid the whole thing, making him wince and pout. Calm your ass down. You'll have your turn. At this point, I'll have to charge you all every time y'all hit me. Are you some kind of masochist? Daryl gave Gio a side eye. Brittany shook her head, while Jess just giggled. It was a cute little get-together that Brittany planned last night. She wanted to make a few sandwiches, so she prepared lots of varieties. On the blanket were a few Tupperwares, with some of the sandwiches inside, while the rest were eaten. Everyone got their fair share already. By now, everyone is just minding their own business. Daryl is having the time of his life with 2 sandwiches on both his hands. Brittany and Jess are talking. Gio is a bit further away from the group, leaning on the bark of the tree, seemingly lost in thought, and Crowe is nowhere to be seen. You were quite hesitant to approach Gio at first. You always saw him as someone quite intimidating. More intimidating than Brittany. It's probably the way he carries himself. His towering height isn't helping either. And it seems like you've been staring at him for too long. He stopped chewing on his sandwich as his gaze met yours. You shivered. What do you want? Nothing. If you have nothing to say, then don't bother me. He seemed uninterested in talking anymore, his sandwich half eaten before throwing it in the nearest trash bin. I think it's better not to disturb him. What the hell is this? You turned back to Geo. He side-eyed you for a brief moment. Before? B? Is that a B or an amp? I don't know. Didn't say anything as he continued on gazing at the sky. He seemed to be ignoring your presence. Is this like a glitch or something? I don't know if I'm supposed to be seeing this. Yeah, probably. I feel like with the text with that, I almost felt like this dude was gonna lay me the hell out. Alright, so we'll go back to the option. We're gonna say we have questions. Hurry up and spit it out. Why do you hang out with us? I mean, I don't mean it in a bad way. It's just that I'm curious. You don't seem the type to. His piercing gaze made your voice die down. You cursed under your breath. Fuck. I think this is it for me. I get it. But you wouldn't understand. Leave me to my devices. Now. He demanded before wrapping the half-eaten sandwich he had in his hand, before throwing it towards you. You caught it, nearly losing your balance. And give that to Daryl. I just lost my appetite. Geo then crossed his arms and looked up at the sky, the chilling autumn breeze passing by him, making his long hair sway along with his washy earrings. You take a look at the wrapped half-eaten sandwich in your hand. I guess I'll never know. You sigh. Let's go to Daryl. Daryl seems to be the least busy out of everyone. You approached this sitting figure as you took a seat in front of him, one sandwich gone from his hand as he munched on the other one on his other hand. He notices you and stops eating, tucking away the sandwich and placing all of his attention on you. Here. You took out the half-eaten sandwich you got from Geo and handed it to him. He tilted his head to the side. You can't finish yours? It's from Geo. Really now? Not gonna lie, that's quite uncharacteristic of him. Usually he would either finish it or throw it away. Not that I'm complaining though. Thanks, Lion. Daryl thanked you with a smile and took the half-eaten sandwich from your hands before tucking it away. You got something to ask me, Lion? Oh, wow. This is a lot of options. Let's just go from top to bottom. What are your thoughts on Geo? Daryl smiled as he leaned a bit forward. Now Geo's my favorite guy. Even if he's a bit of a meanie at times. What makes you stick to him? Isn't he mean like you said? Daryl's smile brightened as his eyes went soft. He side-eyed the male by the tree, who had his arms crossed. Geo's attention was somewhere else. People are scared of him. It's probably because of his background. What about it? The thing is, no one really knows what his family does other than the fact they're super rich, and that they are highly involved with the founder of this city. People have seen him with his bodyguards, all rugged and tall and very intimidating. Heck, I even saw one with a huge katana on their backs. You shivered. Clearly, you don't want to deal with them. But what makes you not scared, Daryl? I mean, you clearly know what his family and himself is capable of. You see, Lion, I am really not scared of him. On the outside, he's all stubborn and cruel. But on the inside, he's a really nice guy. Think of him like He pursed his lips, thinking a bit. He's like a stubborn cat. You glanced back at Geo one more time. You are seeing the cat ears and the tail all right. Now that you think about it, with this vision based on Daryl's declaration, Geo does not seem quite intimidating anymore. How cute. Then you hear a sigh from Daryl. You returned your attention to him, an elbow on his leg as he held his face in his hand. Which begs me to wonder how he ended up in the lower class with us. The low class? How do we have things like that? Oh? You don't know about the hierarchy, Lion? You shook your head no, and Daryl scratched the back of his head. Oh damn, well, Lion, almost everyone knows about it. But I don't blame you, since no one really likes bringing that type of subject up. I think either Crowe or Jess would like to explain it to you. Just not Brittany. She gets riled up when it's mentioned. You nod in understanding, and Daryl gives you a smile. Anyway. You got something to ask me, Lion? I would like to know more about you, Daryl. Daryl rubbed the back of his head, quite embarrassed you thought about him. Well, aren't you a flatterer? Ahem. Where should I start? He thought for a while, his legs crossed while you waited for him as he pondered. Well, I am the ace of my football club. I hate my coach, but don't tell him that. I love food, like, lots. My favorite food would be sweets. If you ever got any on ya, smuggle me some, will ya? He says with a wink and a nudge. Other than that, I guess that's pretty much it. What do you think about Jess? At the mention of Jess's name, Daryl's whole face turned red as he started sweating. What about her? I don't know. I'd like you to tell me. What do you think about her? Daryl's cheeks just keeps getting redder and redder. For a moment, his gaze turned to where Jess and Brittany were. He sighs as he looks away. Jess is the sweetest human being I have ever met. Oh. But don't tell anyone. I trust you with this because Crowe trusts you, okay? Alright. I don't know what's the big fuss yet, but I promise I won't tell. You raise your hands in surrender. The taller jock deflated on his spot, his shoulders down along with his mood. But, yeah, she's sweet, she's pretty, she's cute. While some would make fun of me, she's always there to give me a pat on the back. He groans, doubling over. His expression seems like he wants to throw up as he buried his face in his hands. But I doubt she likes me back. You tilted your head, wondering why he thinks this way. What makes you say that? The way she looks at Brittany. Don't you think that's the look of someone in love? At that, your eyes widened in surprise. You quickly turned your head to where the two girls were. The eyes behind the transparent frames looked like the fresh citrus oranges in summer. They were bright. And they were fresh for the picking for Brittany. I know, because that's the same look I gave to her when I first met her. And it's the same look I see on Crowe when he looks at you. He twirled a loose strand from his bangs. He looked away from the two girls and focused on your surprised figure. I hate it, but I love seeing that look on her face. I wish it was on me though. I'm sorry, Daryl. He chuckled a bit. It's alright. Maybe one day I'll confess, just to get it off my chest. All I want is to see her happy. Even if it's not with me. Anyway, enough of this sad shit, Lion. Daryl gives you a proud smile. Brittany? She's my first friend back when I was new to the football team. You'd be surprised that she used to be in the cheer squad despite her being quite introverted. She was. Daryl's bright smile softened, a small gloomy look in it. He was trying so hard to hide it, but was failing. Yeah. She quit right after the game's big frat party 2 years ago. That party was something else since the higher classes were also a part of it. The following day, she suddenly quit. I don't know why though. Not quite worth thinking about the past anyway. Okay, and here we are with Crowe. What do you think about Crowe? At the mention of the blue-eyed friend of his, Daryl gives you a toothy grin as he wiggles his eyebrows. You want jits on your little crushie, don't you, Lion? Shut up. I just admire him, okay? Daryl laughed and stopped his teasing, saving you from further embarrassment. Crowe is quite an individual. All I know is that he's the son of a very successful businesswoman in the city. Though, I heard he doesn't have a great relationship with his family. What makes you say that? Daryl thought for a bit, but judging from his expression, he couldn't understand why either. I don't know either, Lion. You should ask Crowe for that if you want to learn more. I see. And don't worry, Lion. I'm sure he'll do anything that you ask for. He gives you a playful wink. You rolled your eyes, but gave him a smile nonetheless. Thank you for answering my questions, Daryl. Anytime, Lion. You're one of us now, so open up a little. All right. Daryl gives you a smile before nodding. To Brittany. Brittany was minding her own business, seemingly tapping away on her phone. You were kind of shy to come any closer to her. But before you could turn and leave, however, she called out to you. She must have seen you from the corner of her eye. Oh, oi, Lion, come here. Don't be a stranger now. You clearly want to talk. Let me guess, were the sandwiches great? Oh boy. We'll say they were wonderful. Well, you know what? We'll say that I couldn't finish it, and then we'll come back and say that they were wonderful. It's alright. You can give your leftovers to Daryl. He'll inhale food like it's just air. Anyway, enough of my sandwiches. You have something to tell me. Oh wow. Have you seen Crowe? Crowe? I think I saw him go deeper in the gardens. Brittany said with a raise of her brows. Let me guess. You want to finally confess your undying feelings for him? What makes you think that? Wow. I'm not sure who is denser, him or you. Whatever. If you need him, he's probably in the greenhouse. Brittany gives you a thumbs up, mouthing a good luck. As if I'm confessing, you thought with a pout. Brittany just gives you a teasing smirk. Anyway, enough of that. Brittany just chuckled. You mean that meathead? He's an idiot. She says with a smile, and then she sighed. She shakes her head at the thought of the tall jock. He's an idiot, but he's a smart idiot. I'll give him that. He's like a brother to me. It just baffles me how he barely has any friends. How this school fails us. She shakes the idea before returning her attention back to you. You have something to tell me. Okay, let's see. Geo. Brittany raised an eyebrow. Don't tell me you've got the hots for him. Nothing of the sorts. What makes you think that? I mean, I wouldn't blame you if you do. If you can see how his locker is often filled with multiple love letters and gifts from various people, then I wouldn't be surprised. He's that popular. A loner like him? You'd be surprised. Tall, mysterious, and dangerous. Everyone just flocks to him like birds. But people are scared to even get close to him, so the next best thing they could do is send him gifts. They never succeed, though. Is he somehow overwhelmed by the attention? Not really overwhelmed, more like he's uninterested. He either doesn't read the letters and tosses them, or he burns them. He burns them. That's so mean, and a waste of gifts too. Brittany just laughs, her shoulders shaking. That's Gio for you. How do you know all this? Brittany giggled before giving you a wink as she pressed a manicured finger on her lips as if to shush you. I know a lot of secrets. Anyway. Upon hearing her name, Jess's head turned to where you both were. Brittany dismissed her, telling her it's nothing for her to worry about before turning back to you. Jessie? She's my best friend. She smiled as she looked at the orange band on her wrist. My very best friend. When no one was there to help me, she was there. You'd be surprised how confident and loud she is when she's mad. Brittany chuckled a bit, as if reminiscing a fond memory. I owe it all to her for bringing me back up during those dark times. But enough of the past. Okay, so let's do nothing else. Brittany gives you a nod before standing up from the ground. She stretches her limbs, letting out a few satisfying pops. She places a hand on her hip. I'll be cleaning a bit. I'll talk to you later, Lion. You don't want any help? No thanks. I appreciate the thought, though. You nodded as you stood up as well, leaving Brittany to attend her own devices. Alright, so let's go back and load the sandwich talk real quick. Here. They were wonderful sandwiches. She smiled at your response. I'm glad you liked them, Lion. Okay, that was the only difference. So I'm just going to skip ahead through all this. Jess was admiring the few orange leaves slowly falling from the tree. The slow descent of a leaf catches her attention, before gracefully catching it with her delicate fingers. She notices you approaching her. She dropped the leaf before giving her full attention to you. Yes, Lion? What seems to be the problem? Oh, there's nothing. Actually, I just want to talk to you and ask a few questions. Then by all means, go ahead. I'll try my best to answer them. Have you seen Crowe? Jess's eyebrows furrowed and shakes her head. I don't think I know where Crowe is. Maybe you should ask Brittany. Maybe she knows. You thanked her. Jess's shoulders started shaking at the mention of the tall and stoic individual. I hate to be one of those people, but he actually scares me. Have you seen how capable he is with his bow and arrow? No. Actually, is he really that good? I only know that he's from the archery club. Oh, then you should definitely attend the sports event next year. Gio is going to compete, and the higher classes will be there to determine if the students are worth bringing up. Another shiver went up her spine. She wrapped her arms around herself. A bad memory crosses her mind. But whenever that happens, Gio seems to somehow miss his target and nearly hit someone with his arrow. What? What the fuck? Thankfully, it only cut the guy's hair and nothing else. He got disqualified, sadly, but that was enough for me not to mess with him. How is he not in jail? You try to rack up your brain for a reason why he's in school and not behind bars, but Jess cut you off before you could think any further. Enough of that. At the mention of Daryl, Jess's face went bright. This is probably the first time you have seen her smile without shaking like a lost lamb. Oh, Daryl. He's an amazing friend. He keeps me safe, and I owe it up to him quite a lot. Though I do feel bad for him most of the time. Brittany and Gio tease him way too much. Jess chuckled, looking at the jock sitting under the tree before turning back to you. He's a funny guy. I remember back then when I made the mistake of giving him a bowl filled with candy last year's Halloween. He did tell me he likes sweets. Why? What's wrong with giving him candy? Well, he gets a sugar rush pretty quickly, and he gets super hyper. Brittany tried so hard in calming him down. Can you imagine? A 6-foot-tall jockey going around like a playful puppy. I bet Brittany didn't have a fun time. Jess nodded, with a closed smile at you. What do you think about Brittany? Upon mentioning the Gyaru's name, Brittany's head turned to the both of you. She didn't say anything, but raised a brow as she tilted her head to the side. You called for me? Nothing, Britt. Jess quickly shooed her best friend away. Brittany shrugged before continuing on with her own business. Jess lets out a sigh of relief as a small tint of red raises to her cheeks. Jess looked down on her skirt, fiddling with her pink wristband as her heartbeat quickened. Britt, she's my best friend. My very best friend, and I would do anything to see her happy again. She pushed back her glasses and looked at you. And there, you saw the sparkles. Her smile is soft, and you can tell. Jess, do you like Brittany? She was hesitant before looking down, nodding as she did so, still fiddling with her pink wristband. Promise not to tell? I promise. Thank you, Lion. This will just be between the two of us. Besides, she gives you a big smile. I'll keep your oh-so-secret crush towards Crowe a secret too. She giggled at your surprised look at the mention of Crowe. You rubbed the back of your head as you pouted. All right, that's all of them. Jess nods as she clasps her hands. It was wonderful talking to you, Lion. You should hang out with us more. And with that, she gives you a wave goodbye. Time to go look for Crowe. You've pretty much talked with everyone here, and they all seem to be busying themselves. You looked around the garden before moving in deeper into the red autumn wonderland. As you kept moving forward, you were greeted by the greenhouse. Through the transparent glass, you spot a familiar head of brown. You went inside the greenhouse and saw Crowe go through each plant and flower, analyzing each delicate leaf and petal. Noticing he's not alone, he turned to where you were and smiled. Oh, there you are, Lion. What brings you here? I would say the same thing to you. Well, I haven't really explored this place properly before, so why not take that chance? You've never been here. Crowe shakes his head. Never got the time to visit. Crowe chuckles. You meet his gaze, and he gives you a soft smile. His gaze lingered a bit before going around. He then found something that caught his attention. Now this is a pretty looking flora. What do you think it is? You looked at the brush of flowers filled with purple flowers. Their petals thin as it showcases its full bloom. This is a passion flower. Fascinating. Tell me more about it. Well, it's a climbing vine plant. Usually its colors are purple or white. Once flowers bloom, passion fruits will bear itself. Usually a volunteer would come and harvest the fruits. That sounds interesting, Lion. But that's the scientific way to describe this flower. How about its meaning? You tilted your head to the side. What do you mean? How do I say this? He places a hand under his chin. In astrology, each star has a meaning behind it. Same goes with gemstones like your birthstone. Flowers have those as well, correct? Huh. I never really thought of it. Crowe gives you a cheeky smile. It's interesting. Passion flower symbolizes hope and growth. I love seeing the hopeful looks on people. he says as he looks at the flowers before you both. Hope. Something this city needs. I want to get rid of the hierarchy. Daryl mentioned something about that. Actually, everyone did. But how come I have never heard of it? What is it about? I never got to explain it to you, huh? I guess now's the perfect time, since they're quite active in interacting with us in the lower class again. He looks out. Our school, Olympias University, has 2 buildings with 2 different classes. One is where we are at the moment, the lower class, while around the northern part of the city is where the higher classes are. There, education is 10 times better, the facilities are better, and the students are way out of our league. He hesitates a bit in voicing his thoughts of the students in the higher class. Though I highly doubt that, he added, his eyes narrowed. The hierarchy seems to be a major focus in this, chapter, you could say. Calling it lower class is kind of low in my opinion. I call them villagers, humble people. They're either really kind or too busy to bother. There was a hint of hesitation in his voice. Well, not all. Failed students in the higher class often end up here with us. And well, they don't really take it well. Which explains the bullying situation. Crowe's eyes slanted downward, disgusted by the idea. The fact that he can't do anything is irritating him. How come no one tried to file a report or anything? People tried. I tried. We tried. But unless you either have money or a higher reputation, heck, even both, they'll bother to even listen. Crowe sighs. Which is why some students try their hardest to get up the ranks, to be part of the higher class. All of that, just to be respected. Crowe didn't say anything to you but a nod. Crowe lets out a sad laugh. The system is kind of a, if you feel it thing. You don't really feel it, much less see it, unless you've been at its mercy. It's a dog-eats-dog world out there, Lion. You'll never know who is the next victim. A soft, sad smile made its way on his face. Which is why I strive to protect you. You were left to your thought process to what Crowe told you about the newfound information. This probably explains the bullying and how the school is handled. Your position in the city is just the second priority. Heck, maybe not even a priority at all. That means if I ever want to help keep my family's farm up, I have to make it up there. Crowe nodded before continuing. Once you're up there, you'll have a better life. You'll be respected. You'll be rich. People will do as you tell them. That's messed up. Did people ever protest? Crowe, however, did not answer, as if scared that someone would hear him. He remains quiet, only giving you a look that probably says that things did not go well. You refuse to ask for more elaboration. That reminds me, Lion. Crowe starts. You never told me as to how or why you chose this university. Your family owns a farm, correct? You bit your lip as you thought of home. We do, but I wouldn't say we're doing well. I'm sorry to hear that. It's okay, really. It's my burden to carry and not yours. And I'm going to work hard for it. Anything. I'll do anything. Your eyes widen at the words that the well-dressed man said. Okay, so we're going into the flashback now, which is what we also did on the rooftop with Hyugo and Sol, so I'm gonna go through this. But you're nearing the end of the school year, and you cannot afford to go back again. Not with this debt. Credits alone isn't enough to cut it. Whenever you think about it, you keep seeing the tall man's ever-sharp magenta eyes burning into you. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth and a stinging feeling in your chest. Your heart ached as you stare back into Crowe's own azure eyes. Are you alright there, Lion? You zoned out a bit. If I get to be part of the higher class, then I can have a better chance in life, right? Crowe was surprised at your sudden enthusiasm, but nodded regardless. That's right. As you give Crowe a reassuring smile, you clenched your fist. Then I'll work hard to show those higher class that I am worth their time. Crowe chuckles and nods. You know that he's got your back. Then Crowe raised his hand and tucked a loose strand behind your ear. You sensed him placing something soft, and you reached out to touch what felt like petals. That looks good on you. What is it? Crowe then leads you to a nearby pond. You looked and saw your reflection. On your hair is a red carnation. Oh, I didn't know carnations grew here. Crowe only chuckled, fixing the flower on your hair. Crowe looks around for a while, basking in the various beauties of flora. What do you think carnation means? You tilted your head, making sure the said flower doesn't fall from your head, as Crowe continued on with his talk. Passion flower means hope, while carnations mean… I couldn't seem to remember. What do you think it means, Lion? You thought for a while, knowing some carnations are to be found in bouquets. Well, it has to be something romantic. They're often a perfect gift to family and loved ones. Is that so? I might have to look up what it means then. Your eyes met his, and for a moment, his gaze lingered. Were his eyes always this blue? You've never noticed before. The way his lashes flutter and touch his cheeks when he blinks, his plump lips are always glistening whenever sunlight hits him. His eyes went half-lidded as he leaned closer and closer, and as if in a trance, your eyes slowly start to close. Oh boy, let's see. What is about to happen? We'll lean in. As if you lost control of your body and it started moving on its own, you leaned closer as well. Your eyes now closed, feeling his breath near your own lips as he draws closer and closer. Oh boy. Of course. Expected. Of course, Brittany. Your eyes popped open, and you quickly backed away. Crowe backed away as well, as he waved to Brittany. Brittany just raised a brow at the both of you while shrugging it off and leaving the greenhouse. Crowe sighed, seemingly disappointed before giving you his hand for you to take. We should get going. You pouted at the moment ruined before accepting his extended hand and left the greenhouse with Crowe. You and the rest of the group got back inside the campus. Everyone already went to their respective classes. I'm going to head back first. I'll see you in class, Lion. Of course. Crowe didn't walk away just yet. He stood there for a while, contemplating something before shaking his head and walking away, a tint of red touching the lips of his ears as he walked. You spot a familiar head of raven green, and right beside him is a shorter individual. Sol noticed you first and went to you, a noticeable skip in his steps. Lion. Hey, Sol. And who might this be beside you? Okay. Interesting. Are you both heading to your next class? Hugo laughed. hand on his chest as if you told him a very funny joke. Actually, I have a better idea. Let's skip class. Skip class? Yeah, Sol gave Hugo a punch on his rib, making the shorter male choke out the words he was supposed to say as he doubled over and clutched his stomach. Let's ditch. Hugo gave him a glare. Sol ignored him as he anticipated your answer. Hanging out with these two sounds fun, but you remember your next class with Crowe. Maybe you can. Are these potentially new paths? Because I definitely skipped class. And didn't skip class before. Okay, I guess I'm skipping. You know what? Why not? I did say I'd like to get to know you better, new friend. You give Sol a playful nudge on his shoulder. He smiled as he rubbed the area where you nudged him. All right, Sol, lead the way. Okay, so maybe this leads to what we've already experienced. Yes. Oh. So I don't get all 4 options, I suppose because I didn't learn about what Sol likes on the rooftop. Interesting. So now we'll say that we can't skip class. I'm sorry, I couldn't bear to skip on the second day. Sol didn't say anything as his shoulders slumped, indicating his obvious disappointment. But there was something else in the dullness of his eyes. You were interrupted by Hugo. That's alright, Lion, but promise you'll hang out eventually. On a weekend then, I'm sure. Wait. Sol spoke, making you and Hugo look at him. Can I at least take you to your next class? He asked you. There was a hint of desperation within his reddish-orange eyes. You don't see what's the problem with it, so you agreed. Well, I'll see you at the usual spot, Sol. Hugo waved to the both of you before walking off. Let's go, shall we? Sol nods as you walk along, Sol following beside you. Okay, so let's see. Wait, what is this? Thank you for escorting me to my class, Sol. Oh, it's not a problem. His tiny smile didn't last long on his face, however. His shoulders slumped down. Though, I could have wished you could come with us. Maybe next time, Sol. Maybe we can hang out on a weekend, or on a free schedule. Sure. His words contradict his expression, as it lacks enthusiasm. Just then, the door to your classroom opened, and there you met eyes with Crowe. Crowe's eyes lit up once he saw you. There you are, Lion, just in time for the next class. Oh? He was about to greet you, but felt Sol's presence beside him. And who might this fellow be? A classmate of yours? You can say that, Crowe. This is Sol. He's from my art class. Sol, this is Crowe. A pleasure to meet you, Sol. Crowe extended his hand for Sol to shake. Sol just stared at it. A few awkward seconds passed by before he eventually took Crowe's hand. Sol, however, wasn't regulating his strength as he gripped Crowe's hand with much force. Crowe winced from the pressure, but didn't say anything before Sol eventually let go of his hand. Sol then turned to you. I should be going now, Lion. I'll see you soon. Kind of wished you could have come with. He sighed, reaching out to tuck a loose strand of hair away from your face, earning him a small blush from you. Sol turned on his heel and walked off. You looked at his retreating figure before Crowe eventually tapped your shoulder. We should get going. With one last glance at Sol's retreating figure, you turned around and got inside your classroom. Curious. I am finding more dialogue than I thought I was going to find. I'm gonna have to start saving again. Well, I couldn't stop thinking about our conversation back in the greenhouse, so maybe I could base off some things here. So this is... Where am I? This is... So we left the book. And... We're talking about the queen, I think. Yes, that must be it. Well, I couldn't stop thinking about our conversation back in the greenhouse, so maybe I could base off some things here. Okay. So... wait. Okay. I'm trying to think. Where could I be missing dialogue? Let's look at the album. What do we have? Oh. Do we have everything? Does this imply that we have gone through every route possible? Because I definitely feel like I've been digging around. I mean, as of right now, I'm about, of course with some breaks included, about 2.5 hours into this game. That's not including the first video that I posted of day 2. Image 3 of 6 locked. Locked as in I haven't found it, or locked as in it's coming in day 3. So what did I miss in this conversation with Geo? Huh. Of course we got this guy. So, something is off with Geo. Let's look around here. Let's look at my save files. What could impact my dialogue with Geo, especially at that moment? What did I do? I missed something. Well, something I could do is I can stay put instead of leaning into Crowe. You froze. You feel your heart beating faster, the feeling of blood rushing and rising to your cheeks as you try to rethink what is happening. And yeah, okay. I had a feeling that would happen. But how do I get Geo? How do I get this last picture of Geo? Okay, here's some more dialogue. So I called Sol and Hyugo over, but I'm choosing to stay with the group. I'm gonna save right here, because I feel like I'm gonna be tearing this game apart. Well, I kind of already am tearing this game apart, trying to figure out where all the dialogue is. You give Hyugo a sad smile. I'd love to join you, Hyugo, but I'd like to stay with them for today if that's alright. Hyugo gives you a sad smile of his own before nodding his head, failing to notice how one of Sol's eyes twitched. Oh, that's alright, Lion. But hit us up if you ever want to hang out, okay? You nodded, and he gave you an enthusiastic thumbs up. Before you could turn to Sol to apologize to him too, Hyugo quickly dragged him away. You noticed how his strides were slow and hesitant as Hyugo drags him away. You shrugged before returning with Crowe and the rest of the group. Back in the garden. Alright everybody, I do not know how to get that last image of Geo, the third one out of the 6 that is. But I feel like I have torn this game apart as much as I can. Even though apparently I haven't. Well, if any of you know how to get that third image, let me know, and perhaps I will come back and go get it. because I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know if maybe it's because of that glitch that I ran into where the big green text loads at the bottom of the screen, but no, yeah, well, it kind of is at this point. That being said, I thought this was a very good day overall. We've learned more about every single character. I didn't think that there was going to be so much time really put towards Crowe and his friend group, if you will. So you learn more about Daryl and the rest of the rest of the crew, which is very nice. There's clearly more going on with the introduction of the hierarchy, and I find that to be a plot that we're definitely going to be tapping into more. And considering what we have seen from Hyugo, taking out that thug or whatever the guy was, I have a suspicion that Hyugo is more tied into the higher class than he's probably admitting, which really technically isn't our business, at least not yet. And maybe even Sol has more information about it than we realize, because those two are kind of like buddies and they seem to watch each other's backs, and I think they know quite a lot about one another. I wonder if Hyugo knows about how Sol is really obsessed with us and loves to break into our room late at night to watch us from what I assume is our closet and kiss us while we're sleeping. Yeah, I'm really starting to think Crowe is probably the smarter choice here. But because part of the things that I like to do here is make bad decisions, I'm sure whenever day 3 comes, I am also going to be, making bad decisions with Sol. That all being said, if you all like this video, go ahead and give it a like, comment, subscribe to the channel, perhaps share the video out. And I will see you all in the next video. So have a good night.